These are the side hustles I used to make $1,098 for the month of July, and 27 cents. The 27 cents is very important because I can buy some candy with that. Before we get started, I don't have a course to sell you. I don't have a Discord membership. These are realistic, real ways to make money online, and I'll detail the process from A to Z, how you can get started yourself as well. One thing I really want you to pay attention to though is the income disparity month over month. You'll see January started off very strong for me at $1,500, but it dipped in February and March before picking up in April and May, with June and July being much lower as well. So every month is over $1,000, but there is income discrepancy with anything that you do online. If you don't like charts, I'll give you a number to take home with you. My average earning has been $1,278 for this entire year. This is not the tens of thousands or millions of dollars that these online gurus want you to believe, but that should tell you that everything that I'm about to say is probably going to be extremely realistic. The first side hustle that made me money was freelancing, particularly Fiverr.com. This made me 135 American dollars for the month of July. This is remarkably lower than the first 5 months of the year, but it still continues to be a consistent source of income. What is Fiverr.com? Fiverr.com is a freelancing website where you can sign up and sell your services. For example, if you like designing logos, you can sell logos on Fiverr.com. If you are a fashionista, you can sell fashion advice on Fiverr.com. If you're a programmer, you can code for people and charge for that service. The key thing with Fiverr.com is getting started, and that's extremely easy. All you need is an email and you need a niche. So pick whatever you're good at. If you're not good at anything, I'll list some things down in the description below which require no formal education to get started. For example, writing services. Now here you might have a question. There's thousands, tens of thousands of writers on Fiverr.com. How am I going to stand out and get clients? Well, the first piece of advice that I have and how I got my first few clients, being a complete beginner in the space, is to price extremely low, and I mean the lowest possible at $5. And I'll use myself as an example. I started selling career services, particularly helping people prepare for tech interviews. So as long as you're good at what you do, as long as you pick a niche and you price low, I can almost guarantee you'll get impressions and you get clients, because anybody can justify spending $5 if you get high quality of work, as long as the quality of work is high. The last thing with Fiverr.com is consistency. You should not expect to make thousands of dollars doing this in the first few months, even the first year. Once again, using myself as an example, I sold at $5 and $10 for half the year, and I made very little money doing this. But now, since I have those reviews, I can bump up the price to nearly $60 an hour and still get clients. The income is going to vary for the first year. Do not expect to retire yourself doing this, but this is a consistent source of side hustle income, something that I've used to make thousands of dollars in the past year as a complete beginner. I started off with no experience and no expertise in freelancing. I just used these tips and tricks that I've told you, and if you follow them, I can almost guarantee you'll get some impressions and some people, some clients messaging you. The second side hustle is dividend investing. Dividend investing paid me around $670 for this month. That is just an astronomical amount. I cannot even believe I'm saying that, but this is the most passive source of income that I've ever found online. Dividends are easy to understand. Think of any company you love. For example, Pepsi. Pepsi has a product and they have some cost that goes into making that product. For example, the loads of sugar that you get in your Pepsi. Also, you have to pay the transportation guy, the driver, to get your Pepsi to the restaurant that you love. In my case, Japanese restaurants. I do like Japanese barbecue quite a lot, and now I'm getting very hungry thinking of that. You get the cost, you subtract it from the revenue that they make, and you get profit. Now here, companies can do one of two things with it. A, reinvest it back into the business and grow it further, buy more machinery, buy more sugar, get more drivers, make more sales, and B, give it out to the shareholders as an incentive for them to keep holding onto Pepsi stock. This is where I and many other dividend investors come in. If you hold shares in Pepsi, if you hold shares in Microsoft, if you hold shares in Google, you are entitled to dividend payments. Some companies like Pepsi pay a lot of dividend, up to 4%, and other companies like Microsoft pay very little dividend at 0.5%, but most companies do end up paying some form of dividend. The biggest question I get on this channel and in real life when I talk about this is, well, what if I invest in Pepsi? What if I invest in Google, but the company goes bankrupt? And this is where ETFs or exchange traded funds come in. Exchange traded funds hold a basket of companies. Take one example of the S&P 500, the 500 biggest companies in the United States of America. If you buy an ETF tracking the S&P 500, you're holding not just 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 companies, you're holding 500 different companies in equal proportion to their market share. So even if one of those companies goes bankrupt, your money is extremely safe and secure. And this is evidenced by the growth rate of the S&P 500. It's gone up on average 10% per year for the last 40 years. So you're growing your money, and at the same time, you'll get paid through dividends. And this is where most of my money is invested. Big ETFs tracking big indices like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, or the TSX 60, which is the Canadian version of the S&P 500. Getting started in dividend investing is extremely easy. Just search dividend stocks plus the name of your country. Just search stockbroker plus the name of your country, and you'll get a ton of brokers providing you these services. And just to show you this, I'll just search dividend stocks or dividend ETFs Australia, and literally you can see even for Australia, there's so many ETFs. You can just search your country and you'll get all the investment opportunities out there for you. My only tip with dividend investing, just like with freelancing, is do not expect to make a ton of money up front. This is a long-term process. Making money online is hard. Passive income is hard. You're not gonna make millions of dollars, I'm sorry to break it to you, just like these gurus want you to believe, because they want to sell you courses. I don't want to sell you a course, I want to sell you the truth. And the truth is, you're not gonna make millions of dollars doing dividend investing, but I can guarantee you, if you stay consistent with it, you will see this income go up gradually. Look at me as an example. Some ETFs that used to pay me $5 or $10 now pay me hundreds of dollars for the same ETF, just because I stayed consistent. The next side hustle I want to talk about is crypto staking. This paid me a grand total of $8. But we don't hide anything on this channel. We are completely and utterly honest. Maybe I shouldn't be this honest, actually. I'll start being less honest. Crypto is interesting and it's been in the news over the last few years. Bitcoin has gone up astronomically in value, so has Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies. And staking is a process whereby you can get rewarded for just holding onto crypto. You do this by certifying transactions onto the blockchain. Every transaction before it gets added to the blockchain needs to be certified. And if you hold crypto for that particular cryptocurrency, you can come in and certify those transactions. For example, I hold Ethereum, I have nearly one coin, and I lend that out to certified transactions and I get rewarded for it. I get paid around 2.1% per year for the amount of Ethereum that I own, which turns out to around $8 a month. Just like with stock investing, staking is extremely easy to set up and get started. Just search crypto investing, crypto staking, plus the name of your country, type enter on that Google search bar, and Google that magnificent beast is going to give you lots of options for you to get started in your own country. Mind you, you will have to take the risk of holding the cryptocurrency. It might fluctuate, it might go up and down. I know all about it. Holding Ethereum, I have cried myself to sleep at night sometimes just because of the drops in Ethereum price, but I know for a fact that if it does pay off, it's going to work 10, 20 years down the line. I am young. If you are young, you might want to look into it. The next side hustle that paid me money was investing in a small business. This paid me around $135 for the month of July. Investing in businesses is something that's very complex and something that I've tried to get more information for since the last video, so I can provide it in this video. And I found a couple of websites to give you ideas of what sort of businesses to invest in. Before we get into that, I'll tell you what I invested in. I saw an opportunity in the food space, particularly in the Middle East. The Middle East has a lot of livestock and a lot of animals, just like every other country. Countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, they have livestock and animals that they need to take care of. But the thing is, they don't necessarily have the means to create the food for them. Since the Middle East is not the most fertile of regions, they end up importing a lot of food. I started looking for businesses that import food to the Middle East and found an excellent opportunity of my friend doing this import-export business. I contacted him and asked him if he's looking for capital. He said yes, and bing bang boom, we wrote up a contract, and now I get paid every single month in proportion to the capital that I invested. I invested around $5,000 and I get paid around $135 to $140 depending on the currency fluctuation, because the Middle East is in dirhams, not in dollars. So the return is around 20% for the year, which is pretty solid. The S&P 500 or the stock market returns 10%, so I am doubling that. I recognize I'm taking on more risk, but I think the risk to reward ratio is pretty solid. I found a couple websites that you can use to get into this sort of site hustle. The first one is WeFunder. This is where companies, particularly tech companies, come and raise money for products. You can search by product, you can search by industry, and you can see the company's financials as well and see if they're profitable or not. And this is a legit website. There's legit founders on there, companies in every industry, and it is crowdfunded. Just look at the minimum investing requirements. That is important. You need to have the minimum required amount to invest in businesses here, but the minimum amount is not very high for a lot of these businesses. That is the entire point of crowdfunding, is to make businesses more accessible to the normal person like you and I. The second website is republic.co. Just like with WeFounder, it lists companies in all industries. For example, I'm going to click on IGNQ. This is a company that's making market-ready quantum security. Wow, that sounds... Actually, I might invest in this. It is done though. As you can see, they've reached the $5 million goal, but the minimum investing, which is the important part, is only $500. There is risk with business. I fully recognize that, but I believe in the concept of taking calculated risk. Look at these businesses, find businesses that resonate with you, and make sure you're able to get that minimum investment amount to actually start investing. The last side hustle I want to talk about, and if you stuck this far, you're going to like this one, is this channel. Yes, YouTube and social media in general. I actually got monetized last month. It took me a painstakingly long amount of time, but that is okay. We are here now, and I love making content in the finance space, in the side hustle space, and bringing honesty to a space where everybody's trying to scam you and get your money does provide me a lot of purpose and satisfaction. Every single comment I get thanking me for being honest or just providing my real feedback and not ripping people off motivates me to keep creating content in this space. I made a grand total of 70 American dollars from this channel in the last month. Not a lot of money, but I don't do this for the money. I do this because I really do enjoy it, and I like helping people make money online. If you enjoy content creation, this can be a very good way for you to make side hustle income online. The first step is just picking what you like. It took me a long time to decide what I like. I used to make videos on literally anything back in the day, a couple years ago. But pick a niche that you actually enjoy. You like fishing? Make fishing videos. You like beauty and fashion? Make beauty and fashion videos. Just pick whatever interests you and then be consistent. I know it sounds like pretty bad advice, but staying consistent is the only way to make it as a content creator. Of course, you can be really lucky, be an amazing personality, and make it in the first month, but probabilistically, you're not gonna make it in the first month. You're not even gonna make it in the first year. But if you stay consistent, if you upload every single week, you might see some reward from it. And the second piece of advice, the more important piece of advice for this, is keep improving with every video. Keep improving the script, keep improving your editing, keep improving your confidence on the mic and on camera. Like I said, I'm not an expert, I'm not a virality coach. I don't sell these services. I can just tell you what's worked for me so far in my capacity, and something that I know for a fact would work for literally anybody. That's it, $1,100 in the bank now. I've been doing this for over a year, and it's really satisfying to keep consistent and keep showing people how they too can make thousands of dollars every single month realistically. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like and subscribe. I don't have a course to sell you, don't have a Discord membership. I'm just a guy trying to make some money online and bring honesty to a space where literally everybody is a scammer. I'm comfortable in saying that. Everybody except me. Maybe. I'll see you next week.